Hello my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So this is another month video where I take a month and try and make a drawing inspired by it, and seeing as it's January, we're going to be doing a January drawing. There's a whole playlist of these, so if you want to watch more of them, go click on it. Go watch some interesting ones. Also, this is your last chance to subscribe before my goal of 2,000 subscribers on my 1-year anniversary. Next week, 1-year anniversary, a special video is coming out. If we don't hit 2,000 subscribers by then, well, nothing's really going to happen, but it's been my goal for a while, so please subscribe. And on with the video. So right off the bat, I had my mind set on two different ideas I might want to do. I could either do like a generic drawing based off of winter, because I like to have typically at least one drawing that kind of represents the season as a whole instead of just holidays. So I could do a generic winter drawing, or I could make it based on New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions sounded like the more interesting one, so that's what I went for. First, I sketched out all my ideas and like positioned them because I wanted to have a ton of different elements to show a ton of different popular New Year's resolutions. So obviously there's going to be someone trying to work out. Eating healthy, that's a big one, so I'm going to have a salad bowl. After this I had to start looking up popular New Year's resolutions because I don't know what people make their New Year's resolutions. I'm not an adult. So I looked up some popular ones, then I got new hobbies being a common resolution, so I drew like a keyboard, some paper for artwork, and yarn for crocheting to show like new hobbies this person might be pursuing. Then also another popular one was traveling, and then there was spending time with family, so I combined the two and drew like this little series of photos, maybe showing what this person might want to do that year, some showing spending time with family, and some showing popular travel destinations. And that was pretty much it for this sketch. And I was kind of feeling overwhelmed with all this stuff I had to draw, so I just started off with the photos. So I did a second sketch for them, kind of using the ruler to outline the borders of the photo frames, and then I inked them without using the ruler. Typically whenever I use the ruler, I kind of complain about it being too perfect and me not liking that. So this was a really good way to have that more looser, imperfect style while also having vaguely rectangular shapes. And then each photo I kind of put some thought into what's going on. The first one is just the dog though. I imagine it's like the family dog. That one's really not that unique. But after that I did the family with Disney hats on. Then we have the like husband and wife of this family laying in the grass. Then there's the husband and the son, and they're at the Leaning Tower of Pisa doing that like classic thing where like someone's holding up the tower. Also, for all of these, I want to kind of keep the color palette as small as I could, so I didn't use too many colors, and the colors that I do use here I try and reuse in other parts of the drawing. And also I was obviously a lot more simplistic and a lot more loose with all the details for these photos because, you know, they're just tiny photos. So like no one has eyes or noses besides the dog. The dog's just special that way, I don't know. But I still think it gets the point of each photo across while being simple and easy to do. Then I put on some basic highlights for the glass that's holding the photos in. And the photos were pretty much done. I do come back to them later and add some shading because I forgot to do that. But beyond that, they're pretty much done. Then I went on to the guy working out. And this one, I struggled with like everything. The arms were a big problem. So for the left one, I had trouble figuring out how I was going to draw the wrist because I'm still not, like, a lot of things revolving around hands in my style I haven't really set them in stone. So figuring out how to draw wrists is always a big question mark because I haven't even gotten my hand situation under control. Also, like, the fist, like I was just saying, my hands are very inconsistent. And I'm still struggling with hands a bit, so drawing that fist around the dumbbell was also kind of a struggle. Then we have the right hand. The position was kind of hard based on the angle, because, like, okay, I kind of messed up here because the tank top, where the center of that isn't angled enough, while the rest of, like, the body's super angled. So it looks really weird. The angle's really wonky. And that makes the arms position also really wonky. Then there's also the, like, how it's holding the elbow of the other arm. Positioning that was also difficult. Then the head shape. So I don't usually draw bald characters. And I forgot why I hate doing it, because usually when there's hair, I only have to draw, like, a good semicircle. And it can be a little wonky because, like, we don't see it connect all the way through. But for this drawing, I have to draw a perfect circle that isn't too perfect, and I don't like doing... I gave up on trying to freehand a good circle and pulled out the circle ruler and did it. And then I tried to, like, use the transform tool to mess it up a bit so it doesn't look too perfect. Still looks a little weird, though. The drawing does get better after adding, like, some shading and blush and coloring, but it's still kind of Then I took a clipping mask, and in all the line art that isn't the outline of the person, I use a darker color of the color I used to color it. That might not make sense the way I explained it, but you can visually see what I did. It's hard to explain. Then I moved on to the eating healthy one. So for the salad bowl, I started out by just making the bowl and, like, shading it all the way through and making it, like, a complete and finished bowl. Then I drew all the ingredients. So I drew, like, lettuce, grape tomatoes, croutons. We also have, like, I guess they're peppers. They can be anything, really. The little yellow, like, almost pea pod shaped things. Whatever you want them to be, that's what they are. I just want to have some variation in color, so I added in another thing. But I don't know what you put in salads. I don't really eat salad, and I don't know what yellow vegetables there are, so who knows what they are. Then I colored everything and shaded it, but the shading wasn't, like, contrasty enough. So I added darker shading, and this time didn't blend it as much. And it still needs, like, a bit more oomph, but it's better. It's good enough. Then I moved on to all the little hobbies. So I started with the ball of yarn, and at first I just started by wrapping around individual strands of this ball of yarn. And then I'm like, this is going to take way too long and probably won't turn out good if I keep going like this. So after doing that a couple times, I just went around in a circle drawing strands that are going to the, like, direct opposite of the circle. Then I did that long strand that goes across the whole drawing to kind of, draw your eye through the piece. It's really wobbly. I'm not good at drawing straight lines or, like, consistent lines for a long period of time. So it has some character to it, let's put it that way. Then I colored the ball of yarn red because, I don't know, yarn is always red when I picture it for some reason. I think it's from, like, that classic imagery of, like, a cat playing with a ball of yarn. And those balls of yarn are always red for some reason. So I just made it red. Then I did some shading beneath every single strand. And then you can barely tell I did it. And that was pretty much it there. Then, since the paper was coming up soon, and I knew that was going to be a very light off-white, I decided now would be a good time to put in a background so I could color that in properly without having any gaps or anything. So I put down a yellow background since there wasn't too much yellow in this drawing, so everything would pop out well against the yellow. It can be kind of difficult to choose a background color with so many different colors in this drawing, so yellow was the best I could come up with. Then I also shaded behind all the elements to make them pop out more, and then I got started on the papers. So I started by just drawing these like sheets of paper that were falling, have them like curve in various ways and show some motion. Then I actually drew things on them. Kind of like with the photos, I took the special time to give them each individual drawings. So I thought since someone's like trying out a new hobby, maybe it'd be best to do like kind of a variety of drawings. So first we have like kind of the outline for like a basic character drawing. Then there's like a scenery almost. It has some like bushes and some flowers. Then I drew a skeleton. Now I didn't use any references for the skeleton, and I'm really bad at skeletons. Like, I'm a noob at skeleton anatomy, but that's still is the best looking drawing out of all of these. But for all of them, I want them to look pretty rough or like just very basic, because kind of like the photos, you know, they're a drawing inside of a drawing. It doesn't need to have that much time and effort put into it. Then I just shaded them based on like the parts where it's curving in and folding to give it some more dimension. And then I moved on to the final element, the keyboard. So for the keyboard, I didn't like how the sketch was angled, so I just kind of started without the sketch. He also didn't use any ruler to make sure it was straight, so the rectangle shape isn't that great. Yeah, it's kind of bad, but it's okay. We ignore it. Then I just put the keys down, put some little bits and bobs at the top half of the keyboard. You know, some sliders, some buttons. I've seen a keyboard and I've used a keyboard before, but it has been a while. Not the most accurate keyboard drawing, and who knows what the heck half of those functions are at the top, but it's just to give the illusion of having functions to it. I also put like what's supposedly like the brand name, because in all the keyboards I've seen, they have like at that top bit there, the brand. And then I put in the black keys. So for this, I actually did bust out the ruler, and I vaguely looked up a reference. So I took the ruler to draw a straight line like all the way through the keys so they'd end at the same point, and then I just loosely finished drawing in the keys. Then I colored it all like gray and white, then shaded it, added some shine, and the keyboard was also done in all its wonky, weird perspective glory. After that, I added a white outline behind all the drawing elements, which I hand drew because these were all on so many different layers that it was easier to just go behind them and draw a white outline instead of using a filter on like a ton of layers. I'm not even going to count it. But drawing the white outline for that long strand of yarn was also a challenge. Yeah, I had to draw that twice, and I was already bad at it the first time. But after all that, it was pretty much done. And besides the like guy working out, I kind of like the photo. God, I'm too used to photography critiques at this point. Whew. I kind of like the drawing. You know, I think it's a good representation of like New Year's resolutions and January as a whole because of that. Sad Bowl, once again, needs a bit more contrast, but I like it. I also like how I clearly base this off of like one person. All the photos show, besides the dog photo, show this guy that's working out, and I don't know, it was really fun, especially when drawing the photos, to think about this dude's life. I don't know. Since this drawing took so long to make, I just feel a special connection to it, I guess. That tends to happen when you spend more time with a photo, you like it more. So, I do like this. Don't know how long exactly it took, but it took longer than most photos. Why do I keep saying photos? God, I'm so used to photography class. But I don't know exactly how long it took, but it took longer than most drawings I make. Anyway, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below your New Year's resolutions and how those have been going. Since we're already a little bit through January, it's interesting to see if you're still sticking with them, because most people aren't. Also, follow all my social media in the description below. My Twitter and Instagram are on there, and I will see you all next